Good morning, dear children. In yesterday or in previous class, we discussed about ecosystem, habitat. You are observing the mangrove plants. What is the importance of these plants? Where they actually grow? Mangrove plants usually grow in brackish water. What is brackish water? Where river meets sea. That means there we can find both fresh water and salt water. Where river meets sea, that place is called estuary also. That means they're mostly salt water and fresh water mixed. So that is salt water is there in that areas. Then how these plants survive in the salt water? If we place any plant in salt water, it dies. Then how these mangrove forests or mangrove plants, different kinds of Abyssinia and Mada plants are growing in the salt water? How they are protecting themselves from the salt water? There are some interesting facts about these plants. Every plant has actually roots in the soil. But if you see, these plants have different kinds of roots. If you observe here, these are all roots which came out of the soil. These roots are called as aerial roots. We call them as aerial roots. That means they came out of the soil. Why they came out of the soil? To absorb more oxygen from the environment, to receive more air from the environment. Actually, in the sea water, in the salt water, oxygen dissolved percentage is very less. So they want to absorb more oxygen, more air from the atmosphere. So they have one adaptation, that is aerial roots. So they form the aerial roots, and those aerial roots came out of the soil and they absorb the air from the atmosphere. And here you can see these are the stilt roots. They have roots from the branches also. And what is the use of these stilt roots? Actually, roots present in the soil, they have the roots in the soil, and they have another one root type, aerial roots. And one more type of roots they have. These roots you are observing, the roots which are hanging from the branches. These roots are called stilt roots. These stilt roots give support to the mangrove plants in the water. Actually, they present in the seashore. They have always tides, high tide waves. So they have to protect themselves and they have to stand direct in the soil, in the sand. So they take the support from the stilt roots. And these mangrove plants protect the seashore from the high tides or high tidal waves. The mangrove ecosystem is one kind of aquatic ecosystem. Okay, children, in any ecosystem, we find these kind of components. This is very, very important. In any ecosystem, that may be the forest ecosystem, that may be the ocean, that may be the sea, or that may be any lake. In any ecosystem, we find these kind of important parts, these kind of important components. What are they? Ecosystem is a combination of biotic and abiotic components. I told you already in the previous class, children, biotic means which have life. Biotic components are producers, consumers, decomposers. Who are producers, children? Who are producers? Rajeshri, Charita, Ujjwala, Anurag. Who are producers? Who prepare their own food. Is it true, children? Plants are the producers in any ecosystem. In any kind of ecosystem, plants are the one and only producers. They only prepares their own food. Okay. Then consumers. Consumers means depends on plants or other organisms for food, like humans, cockroaches, and the herbivores, carnivores, all are comes under consumers. And the decomposers. Who are decomposers? Decomposers are present in any ecosystem, in any level of the food chain. In each level of food chain, they decomposes the body of the dead bodies of the plants and animals. Examples for the decomposers: bacteria and fungi or fungi. Abiotic components of ecosystem. What are the abiotic components present in any ecosystem? Yes, very true. Fungus, fungi, bacteria are all comes under decomposers. Abiotic factors are sunlight, water, soil, air. These abiotic factors, even though they don't have life, they have very much important for the biotic components. Without these abiotic components, sunlight, water, soil, and air, without these abiotic components, there will be no biotic components in any ecosystem. Biotic components depend on these abiotic components for living. Okay, they prepare, producers prepare food by using sunlight, water, air. Okay, children. So these are important. Here, identify the blue-green algae present in mangrove forest. In the previous class, I told. This is one kind of question asked in the previous examination. Identify the blue-green algae present in mangrove forest. Multiple answer question. Actually, this is first one is Pyrogyra, Ulothrix, Oscillatoria, and Euglena. What is the correct answer, children? Multiple answers. Three. Anurag is saying 3. A and C. Ulothrix and Oscillatoria. Okay. Second and third. Adaptations observed in mangrove plants. What are the adaptations? Adaptation means, children, adjust to the environment, adjusting to the situations. Actually, mangrove plants has a very different climatic condition there. They have salt water. They have to survive in salt water. To survive in salt water and to survive in tidal, high tide waves, they have some adaptations. What are they? Aerial roots, special underground roots to protect from salination, hollow stem, strong stem. What are the adaptations here? This is also the multiple answer. Aerial roots means roots which penetrates out of the ground. Special underground roots to protect from salination. That means these roots have some salt glands, children. They have salt glands. That salt glands excretes or remove the excess salt present in the plant. Actually, they are in salt water. So if they take the water from the ocean, that salt gets into the plant. So to remove that excess salt, plants have salt glands in them. That salt gland present on the stem and on the leaves also. The salt glands excrete that extra salt. And hollow stem means they don't have any a pulp inside it. That is empty. Empty stem is hollow stem. Strong means strong stem. Actually, the mangrove plants have hollow stem. Answer for this question is aerial roots. Special underground roots protect from salination. Salination means high salt content. Hollow stem means stem, empty stem. Inside it, we can't find any pulp inside it. Complete ga lopalanta ఖాళీగా ఉంటుందన్నమాట స్టెమ్. ఎందుకంటే ఎయిర్ ఈజీగా లోపల మూవ్ అవడం కోసం అది అలాంటి ఒక అడాప్టేషన్ ని కలిగి ఉంటుంది. These are all the adaptations of the mangrove plants. 1, 2 and 3 are the correct answers. Okay. Identify the sequential steps in feeding levels. This is also important question in NMMS examination. I am asking this question based on the mangrove ecosystem. Not only that, in any ecosystem we find this kind of food chains. Identify the sequential steps in feeding levels. Producers, herbivores, carnivores, decomposers. Producers, decomposers, herbivores, carnivores. What is the correct answer, children? Producers, at every level decomposers present, carnivores, herbivores. Producers, herbivores, carnivores, at every level decomposers present. Which is the correct option here? Producers means plants. Herbivores means the living organisms which eats plants. Carnivores eat herbivores. At every level decomposers are observed. If plant dies, it is decomposed by the bacteria. If herbivore dies, it is decomposed by bacteria. If any carnivore die, it is also decomposed by bacteria or fungi, and the materials or nutrients present in that body mixed in the soil by the bacteria. So at every level decomposers are present, at producers level, herbivores level and carnivores level. So we have to choose the correct option from this. Yes, Akshita and you said the right answer. Producers, herbivores, carnivores, at every level decomposers present. Option D is the right one. Okay. In any ecosystem, biotic and abiotic components present. I already told that one. And these are the important levels, feeding levels in any ecosystem. Okay. And now I am moving on to the interesting ecosystem, desert ecosystem. Why it is interesting, children? In desert ecosystem, water content is very less. Okay. 17% of land and occur in the region with an average rainfall of less than 23 mm per year. See, the rainfall is very less here. Temperature is very high. And water content is very less. And it is completely covered with the sand. And these kind of environment or climatic conditions are observed in desert ecosystem. Okay, children. So what are the type animals and plants present there in desert ecosystem? The plants and animals which can survive in these conditions. That means no water. That means plenty of water is not available there in the desert ecosystem. And temperature is very high, rainfall is very low. In that climatic conditions, which animals can survive, which plants can survive in those areas? That plants only observed in the desert ecosystem. See, what is the name of this plant, children? This is a desert plant. we observed in our areas also. Opentia. See, the green colored part you are observing here is the stem actually. Then what about the leaves? Leaves are turned into spines. Here you can observe on the surface of this green colored stems. Leaves are turned into spines to protect themselves from the water loss. Actually, desert plants do not have leaves. To stop transpiration process. Okay, to prevent the transpiration process, to prevent the loss of water, actually desert plants do not have leaves. But their stem is in green color. This stem performs photosynthesis, and this stem undergoes photosynthesis and prepares food. Okay. And what is the name of these plants? Round cactus. Columnar cactus. This one also we can see in our area. These are the desert plants, succulent plants. Succulent plants means the plants which stores water in their stem. Plants which stores water in their stem are called succulent plants. We observed in our locality, the best example we are observing every day is aloe vera. Aloe vera is a succulent plant, kalabanda. See, these are the interesting plants. Here you are observing only pebbles, stones, but I am saying these are plants. This one is a plant. See, actually this is a stem. This stem is swollen. This stem is swollen actually. It is filled with water. See, here you are observing one flower is coming out of from the window of the stem. Why these plants are similar as pebbles? To protect themselves from the predators, they looks like the stones or pebbles. These are the desert plants, pebble plants, we call it as pebble plants. What are the producers present in desert ecosystem? Mainly we find different types of cactus plants like round cactus, columnar cactus, saguaro, boabab trees, various kinds of plants we observed in desert ecosystem. Shrubs, grasses, and some trees are the main producers in the desert ecosystem. Actually, these plants have a long, strong root system. These long and strong root system grows in the deeper layers of the soil in search of water. Okay, and the stem leaves are modified into thorns or spines. I told you. ఇక్కడ డెజర్ట్ ప్లాంట్స్ యొక్క లీవ్స్ అన్ని కూడా ముళ్ళుల్లాగా మారిపోయి ఉంటాయి. ఎందుకు ముళ్ళుల్లాగా మారిపోయి ఉంటాయి డెజర్ట్ ప్లాంట్ యొక్క లీవ్స్ అంటే, లీవ్స్ ఉన్నాయనుకోండి, లీవ్స్ కి స్టొమాటో ఉంటాయి. స్టొమాటో ఉందంటే ప్లాంట్ లో ఉన్న వాటర్ అంతా కూడా ఏమైతుంది, ఇవాపరేట్ అయిపోతుంది. సో ప్లాంట్ లాస్ లాట్స్ ఆఫ్ వాటర్. ఓకే, సో దట్ ఈస్ వై టు ప్రివెంట్ ద వాటర్ లాస్, వాట్ దే డూ intellectually, the leaves are modified into thorns or spines. Stem function as a leaf here. Okay, and not only that, different cactus and grass plants, shrubs, and another one interesting plants we can find in the desert ecosystem, that is lichen. Lichen means it is a combination of algae and fungi. Algae and fungi both leaves together, that is called lichen. Okay, and xerophytic masses. Xerophytic means, zero means here, xerophytic means less water content ఉన్న ఏరియాస్ లో నివసించే వాటిని మనం xerophytic plants అని చెప్పి అంటాం అన్నమాట. Xerophyte masses, Blue-green algae is also present in this desert ecosystem. Here you are observing the lichen. See, this is the algae and this one is fungi. Algae and both the fungi lives together. Algae prepare food and give that food to the fungi, and fungi helps the algae to give the moisture, and both helps each other and live together. Okay, this is lichen, what we call it as lichen. Symbiotic relationship, what we call this one is symbiotic relationship, we call it as. That means algae helps fungi and fungi help algae. Both helping each other, that is the symbiotic relationship, lichen. Okay, here you are observing the algae. I think you all seen in the water bodies. These kind of algae also present in desert water bodies. Consumers. What are the consumers? We have seen up to yet various kinds of cactus plants and algae, lichen. Those are all producers. And we comes to consumers, various kinds of consumers present in the desert ecosystem. Those are insects, reptiles. Reptiles means crawling animals, birds and mammals. Here, mammals are the nocturnal animals. Nocturnal means they actually activate nighttime. Why they activate nighttime? Nocturnal animals activate nighttime. We are the diurnals. Diurnals means we activate daytime and we sleeps at night. But in the desert ecosystem, animals are active at night and they sleep in the daytime and they take rest in the daytime. So nocturnal means active at night, diurnal means active at daytime. Nocturnal animals are mammals, here rodents. What they do, they activate nighttime, they hunt for the food in the nighttime to prevent themselves from the hot heat or hot sun. So they are active at nighttime. Some birds also present in the desert. Here the most important one animal we commonly seen in the desert is camel. We are calling the camel as a ship of the desert. Why we call the camel is the ship of the desert? There is no other animal in the desert travels or walks like the camel. Okay, why camel have a separate adaptation? Their hooves, what యొక్క గిట్టలు, camel యొక్క ఒంటె యొక్క గిట్టలు ఉంటాయి కదా, అవి వెడల్పుగా ఉంటాయి. They have the hooves, their larger and wider hooves. They can easily walk in the sand. మరి ఇసుకలో ఈజీగా నడవడానికి, ఎక్కువసేపు ఈజీగా నడవడానికి అనుగుణంగా వాటి యొక్క హూవ్స్ అట్లా అడాప్ట్ అయి ఉంటాయి అనమాట, మేడ్ అయి ఉంటాయి. వేరే యానిమల్స్ ఏవైనా మనమైతే నడిస్తే మొత్తం అంతా దాంట్లో కూరుకుపోతాం, ఎక్కువసేపు నడవలేము కూడా. బట్ క్యామెల్ అనేది అక్కడ ఎడారిలో మిగతా వెహికల్స్ కంటే, మిగతా జంతువుల కంటే కూడా క్యామెల్ ఈజీగా ఇసుకల్లో నడవడానికి అనుగుణంగా ఉంటుంది అన్నమాట. ఓకే, సో దట్ ఈస్ వై వీఆర్ కాలింగ్ ఇట్ యాజ్ షిప్ ఆఫ్ ది డెజర్ట్ అంటాం మనం. Their body adaptation makes the camel to walk freely in the sand because of their hooves. Their long legs have hooves. Why the camel has long legs? To protect itself from the hot sand. మరి వేడిగా ఉంటది ఇసుక, ఆ వేడి నుంచి తనను తాను పైకి ఉంచుకోవడం కోసం లాంగ్ లెగ్స్ అనేవి ఉంటాయి, లాంగ్ లెగ్స్. Why the larger eyelids? Why the camel has long eyelids, large eyelids? Generally sandstorms occur in the deserts. Sand blow off air in the sand in the desert. So if sand particles, to protect itself from the sand particles, they have larger eyelids. Immediately it closes the eyes of the camel. Okay, and also in this hump, this is hump of the camel. This hump stores fat. This fat is useful for the camel for at the time of lack of food. ఈ హంప్ లో స్టోర్ అయిన ఫ్యాట్ ఏమవుతుందంటే దానికి ఫుడ్ అవైలబుల్ లేనప్పుడు, డెజర్ట్ లో యానిమల్స్ సంఖ్య తక్కువ ఉంటుంది కదా. సో when the plants are not available, it uses the fat which is stored in the hump. Actually camel eats the tender leaves of the plants. If వాటికి ఫుడ్ అవైలబుల్ లేనప్పుడు హంప్ లో ఉన్న ఫ్యాట్ ని యూజ్ చేసుకుంటది అన్నమాట. And one more interesting fact is camel 1 month వరకు కూడా నీళ్ళు తాగకుండా ఉండగలుగుతుంది. ఎట్లా? Why? How it can survive? It has the ability to store water in its body. Actually the stomach of the camel has 4 chambers. In the one of the chamber stores the water, so that is why it can survive for many days without taking water. It uses the water which stored in the chamber of the stomach. Okay, these are the adaptations: long legs, large eyelids, wider hooves, the fat stored in hump, and they store the water in the chamber of the stomach. These are the adaptations observed in camel. And this is, I told you already about this one, side wider adder snake. This travels in the sand side by side. That means it completely, the snake's body is not touches the ground or sand. To prevent the heat, it always keeps its body one side up and one side down, and moves always sides. So that is why it has the name as side wider adder snake. This is also observed in desert. And this one is one interesting bird, sand grouse bird can travel longer distances. It can fly longer distances in search of water, and it can store that water in the crop here, in the crop, to give that water to its nestlings, to their baby birds. Okay, so this is one adaptation. It can travel long distances. One more interesting consumer we can see in desert ecosystem, kangaroo rat. Why we are calling it as kangaroo rat or kangaroo rat? The shape of this rat body similar to the kangaroo. It has the pouch. Kangaroo rat also the pouch in below its stomach to protect their babies. The interesting fact about this kangaroo rat is it cannot take water throughout its life. తన జీవితకాలం మొత్తంలో కూడా నీళ్ళే తాగదు ఈ ఎలుక. ఎట్లా సర్వైవ్ అవుతుంది? How it can survive, children? How it can survive? It feeds on plants. So every plant cell has 70% water. Every cell of our body has 70% water. Every living being's body, మన శరీరంలో ఉన్న ప్రతి కణంలో కూడా 70% వాటరే ఉంటాయి. సో ఈ ర్యాట్ ఏదైనా తిన్నది అంటే ఆ ఫుడ్ లో ఉండే వాటర్ ని మాత్రమే అది యూజ్ చేసుకుంటది. దట్ మీన్స్ ఇట్ డిపెండ్స్ ఆన్ ద వాటర్ విచ్ ఇట్ ఈట్స్ యాజ్ ఎ ఫుడ్. అది తీసుకున్న ఫుడ్ లో ఉన్న వాటర్ ని యూజ్ చేసుకొని ఇంకా ఎప్పుడు కూడా వాటర్ తాగకుండా ఉండగలుగుతాం. లైఫ్ టైమ్ లో వాటరే తీసుకోదు ఈ kangaroo rat. And another one interesting fact about this kangaroo rat is it can hop up to 9 feet height. 9 feet height వరకు కూడా ఇది ఎగరగలుగుతుంది. Okay, these are the adaptations of the kangaroo rat. It do not drinks water throughout its life, and it can hop up to 9 feet height to protect itself from the predators. Even snakes gan atla vachi dini tindamani try chesina anukondi, immediately it jumps to 9 feet height and jumps and it can protect from the snakes and other predators. Okay, These are the adaptations of the kangaroo rat. And this one is golden mole. Have you seen this animal, children, before? This is also a rodent, like elucal family ki chendinది అన్నమాట. This golden mole swims below the sand layers కింద స్విమ్ చేస్తుంది అన్నమాట. Upper layers of the sand are hard to prevent or protect itself from the sunlight or hard. It swims inside the layers of the sand. Interesting fact about the golden mole. Actually, moles lives inside the soil. That means they lives in the burrows. And this is one more interesting animal seen in desert ecosystem, fennec fox. Observe the feet of the fox. What did you observe here, children? Observe the soles of the fox. Their sole has thick fur. This thick fur helps the fox to walk on the hard sand. This thick fur helps the fox to protect itself from the hot or sunny time in the desert. And the ears present to this fox emit or removes the excess heat from its body. ఈ ఫాక్స్ యొక్క కాళ్ళకి పాదాలకి ఏముంది, మందంగా ఏమున్నాయి, వెంట్రుకలు ఉన్నాయి, హెయిర్ ఉంది. ఆ మందంగా ఉండే ఫర్ ఏం చేస్తుంది అని అంటే ఆ వేడిని తట్టుకునేలాగా దీన్ని చేస్తుంది అన్నమాట. దిస్ కెన్ వాక్ ఆన్ ద హాట్ శాండ్. వేడిగా ఉన్న ఇసుక పైన కూడా నడిచేలాగా హెల్ప్ చేస్తుంది. దీని యొక్క ఇయర్స్ ఏం చేస్తాయి, బాడీలో ఉన్న ఎక్సెస్ హీట్ ని బయటికి ఎమిట్ చేసేస్తాయి అన్నమాట, బయటికి పంపించేస్తాయి. దీస్ ఆర్ ద అడాప్టేషన్స్ ఆఫ్ ది ఫెన్నెక్ ఫాక్స్. ఓకే, these are the consumers. Up to it we have seen various kinds of kangaroo rat, sidewinder adder snake, camel, fennec fox, sand grouse. These are all consumers in the desert. Now I am moving on to decomposers. Very little amount of decomposers present in the desert, like producers and consumers. Thermophilic fungi and bacteria. What is the meaning of thermophilic fungi bacteria? Means the bacteria fungi which can survive in the high temperatures. High temperatures లో కూడా సర్వైవ్ అయ్యే ఫంజీ బ్యాక్టీరియా మాత్రమే మనం డెజర్ట్ లో అబ్జర్వ్ చేయగలుగుతాం. మరి ఈ ఫంజీ బ్యాక్టీరియా ఏం చేస్తాయి, డెడ్ బాడీస్ ఆఫ్ ది కన్జ్యూమర్స్, డెడ్ బాడీస్ ఆఫ్ ది ప్రొడ్యూసర్స్, దే ఫీడ్ ఆన్ దెమ్. Okay, they decomposes them. They break down the dead bodies of the producers and consumers in the desert ecosystem, and they takes the food from the dead bodies, and they mix the materials or minerals present in the dead bodies of the desert. Okay, these are some fungi and this is bacteria present in the desert ecosystem, decomposers. Okay, and now I am moving on to the forest ecosystem. You have already learned about forest in 7th class, and also in social studies also you have learned about forests and forest ecosystems. We have various kinds of forests. What are the producers in the forest ecosystem? Various types of trees, tall trees, small plants, shrubs, herbs, climbers, creepers, various kinds of producers we have observed in forests. So the number of producers is more when compared to the consumers. మనకి ఫారెస్ట్ లలో కన్స్యూమర్స్ కంటే ప్రొడ్యూసర్స్ అయిన ప్లాంట్స్ ఎక్కువ కనిపిస్తాయి ఫారెస్ట్ లో. Is it true or not, children? Do all the forests have same type of animals? No. Based on the climatic conditions and the soil variety and the water capacity and the temperature present there, based on that the type of animals also different there. What are the different types of animals in each forest? You have in the social studies also, you have in the 7th class also. Search for it. Here the the different kinds of plants and animals present in the forest ecosystem based on the nutrients available there and the climatic conditions and the water movement. These are all influences the environment. These are all influences this environment influences the presence of the plants and animals there. Forests are found all over the world and they provide valuable economic and environmental services. That means forests are the lungs of the earth. They are cleaning the environment by taking the carbon dioxide and other harmful gases from the environment. So forests are called as lungs of the earth. Here one interesting data given: flora and fauna. What is the flora observed in forest ecosystem? Flora means trees. Trees means larger one like neem, tamarind, like that. Shrubs. Shrubs means some like hibiscus. Hibiscus, rose are we call as shrubs. The creepers. Creepers means cucumber, bottle gourd, like that. Moss and fungi. Moss plants like green grass we observed on the wet walls of the some areas we found on the leftover logs or branches of the plants, fungi and other plants. The entire plants comes under flora. Different kinds of plants comes under flora and different kinds of animals comes under fauna. Fauna means here herbivores which eat plants. Carnivores depends on other animals for food. Rodents means like rats, moles, bandicoots. Those are all comes under rodents. Birds, various kinds of flight birds and flightless birds. Egre pakshulu, egarleni pakshulu. And insects, various kinds of insects. These are all comes under fauna. We find large varieties of flora and fauna in forest ecosystem when compared to desert ecosystem. Desert ecosystem to poliste forest ecosystem lo number of plants animals untai. Endukante forest ecosystem yokka environment దాని యొక్క క్లైమేట్ వేరియస్ ప్లాంట్స్ యానిమల్స్ పెరగడానికి అనుకూలంగా ఉంటది కాబట్టి, ఎందుకంటే టెంపరేచర్ వాటర్ అవైలబిలిటీ సఫిషియెంట్ గా ఉంటది కాబట్టి. ఓకే, హియర్ యూ కెన్ సీ ద ఫుడ్ పిరమిడ్. At every level, I told you already, decomposers are present. In the first level, the base of the food pyramid, we find producers. Producers prepare its own food, like trees, shrubs, grass, mosses, algae, all comes under mosses comes under producers. And in herbivores eats only plants. Okay, and carnivores depend on other animals, flesh or meat. Okay, top carnivores like completely depends on flesh. Okay, tertiary consumers we call it as. This is the food pyramid. Okay, at each level we find decomposers. These are the fungi and bacteria. Okay, here producers in the forest ecosystem. I want to show one video about producers.
A look around at nature
Plants
is an
are very
absolute treat to our senses. We all enjoy the colors and fragrance of plants.
Interesting
Seem to forget
producers.
about their important contribution.
They are also like us, but they have one interesting organelle present in it. So that is why they participate in the process of photosynthesis. The plants can firmly held in the soil by the help of the roots. These roots absorbs water from the soil, and these water is transported to various parts of the plants through the xylem tissue. Here you can see the water transportation, and these water reaches the leaves. See the leaves absorbing the sunlight, light energy. Energy source in any ecosystem is sunlight. These leaves perform photosynthesis. The widespread area of the leaf,
A leaf consists of a flat
lamina, widespread area of the leaf is lamina, and this lamina attaches to the stem with the help of petiole.
Lamina provides large surface area.
This large surface area traps the sunlight. If you see the cross section of the leaf, we can find various tissues or cells in the leaf, upper layer and lower layer of the leaf. Below the upper layer, you can find the group of cells, Palisade Parenchyma. This Palisade Parenchyma has one interesting organelle, that is chloroplast. This chloroplast contains chlorophyll. This chlorophyll performs photosynthesis. This is loosely arranged tissue that is called spongy parenchyma, and now you are observing the xylem tubes. These xylem tubes transport water to various parts of the plant.
The lower layer has many
You can see the water particle, and this is stomata, the lower dermis of the
which regulate
leaf.
opening and closing of the
These are the guard cells. These guard cells helps in opening and closing of the stomata, and you are observing the carbon particles entering into the leaf through stomata. Yes, carbon dioxide molecules, they are. Water and carbon dioxide entering into the cells. Here they are entering into the chloroplast. Water and carbon dioxide combine to form the starch or glucose by using the energy source, sunlight. That means chloroplast trap the sunlight to combine the water and carbon dioxide to prepare the food. Along with food, oxygen molecules also produced. See, glucose and oxygen are produced in plants.
The glucose is transported through
This glucose produced in chloroplants, that glucose is transporting through the phloem tissue. Phloem tubes you can see there. Oxygen molecules, excess oxygen molecules can diffuse out into atmosphere through stomata. See the oxygen molecules entering into atmosphere. The food prepared in the leaves are transporting to various parts through xylem tubes. This is how photosynthesis process occurs in plants, children. Okay. We can find various kinds of producers in forest ecosystem. Okay. The consumers present in the forest ecosystem of different types of, I told you, various kinds of animals present in the forest ecosystem, like elephant, nilgai, deer, mole. Here you can see the mole. They dig the deeper into the soil and they live in the burrows. Moles, squirrels, etc. These are all animals. And the carnivores, mongoose, snakes, birds, lizard, fox, lion, tiger. These are all carnivores present in the forest ecosystem. This is the mongoose. I think you have seen before. And this is these are nilgai, deers. The decomposers observed in forest, fungi. These are fungi. పుట్టగొడుగులు అని చెప్తాం కదా మనం. ఫంజీ వెరైటీస్ లో పుట్టగొడుగులు అనేవి ఒకటి. మామూలుగా ఫంగస్ మనకి కంటికి కనిపించదు, దాని యొక్క కంప్లీట్ స్ట్రక్చర్. మన కంటికి కనిపించే ఫంజీ వెరైటీస్ లో ఒకటి ఇదన్నమాట, ఇది పుట్టగొడుగులు. అండ్ ద బ్యాక్టీరియా, దిస్ బ్యాక్టీరియా అండ్ ఫంజీ హెల్ప్స్ ఇన్ బ్రేకింగ్ డౌన్ ఆఫ్ ది డెడ్ బాడీస్ ఆఫ్ ది plants and animals, and they mix the nutrients present in the dead bodies of the plants in the soil. Okay. Flora means, I told you, flora means plants, fauna means animals. And these flora and fauna die, bacteria and fungi works on it, and they take food from those dead bodies and mix the nutrients present in the soil. See, if any living organism die, here you can see the various stages in the decomposition process. ఇక్కడ పిగ్ చనిపోయింది, ఒక పిగ్. ఒక 15 days తర్వాత చూస్తే దాని బాడీ ఇట్లా కొంచెం రాటన్ అయి ఉంటుంది, కుళ్ళిపోయి ఉంటుంది. బ్యాక్టీరియా, ఫంజీ దాని మీద పనిచేసి ఉంటాయి. ఇంకొక 1 month తర్వాత చూస్తే దాని బాడీ ఇట్లా అయి ఉంటుంది. ఎందుకంటే అప్పటికి దాంట్లో ఆ బాడీలో ఉన్న ఫ్లష్ లో ఉన్న మెటీరియల్స్ ని మొత్తం ఆ ఫ్లెష్ ని మొత్తం కూడా డికంపోజ్ చేస్తున్నాయి, బ్రేక్ డౌన్ చేస్తున్నాయి. హెవీ ఫంగి, బ్యాక్టీరియా లాంటివి, మట్టిలో ఉండే మైక్రోబ్స్ అన్ని కూడా. ఇంకొక 1 month తర్వాత చూస్తే ఏమైంది, బాడీ ఇంకా ఎక్కువ డికంపోజ్ అయిపోయింది. ఒక 3 months 4 months తర్వాత చూస్తే దాని బాడీలో ఫ్లెష్ అంతా కూడా కంప్లీట్ గా డికంపోజ్ అయిపోయి బాడీలో ఉన్న మెటీరియల్ అంతా కూడా సాయిల్ లో మిక్స్ అయిపోయింది. కొంత ఫుడ్ మెటీరియల్ అనేది మైక్రో ఆర్గానిజమ్స్ అయిన బ్యాక్టీరియా, ఫంగి యూజ్ చేసుకుంటాయి. అంటే చనిపోయిన జంతువుల మొక్కల జంతువుల కళేబరాల నుంచి, వాటి డెడ్ బాడీస్ నుంచి దాంట్లో ఉన్న ఫుడ్ మెటీరియల్స్ ని బ్యాక్టీరియా, ఫంగి అనేవి యూజ్ చేసుకుంటాయి అన్నమాట. ఓకే, ఫైనల్ గా కంప్లీట్ బాడీ అంతా కూడా డికంపోజ్ అయిపోయి మనకి బోన్స్ మాత్రమే ఇక్కడ లాస్ట్ స్టేజ్ లో కనిపిస్తున్నాయి. దిస్ ఈస్ అబౌట్ డికంపోజర్స్. సో డికంపోజర్స్ ఆర్ అబ్జర్వ్డ్ ఇన్ ఆల్ లెవెల్స్ ఆఫ్ ది ఫుడ్ చైన్: producers, consumers, decomposers. Okay, energy flow, this is very much important. I told you in the video I showed already. Energy, what is the energy source in the ecosystem? Sun is the energy source. The energy present in the sun absorbed by the plants, that means energy stored in plants, that energy converted into chemical energy. That chemical energy is used by the plant in the form of ATP, and that ATP or energy is transferred to the herbivore. మనకి సన్ లో ఉన్న ఎనర్జీని మొక్కలు ట్రాప్ చేసి ఆహారం తయారు చేసుకుని ఆహారంలో ఎనర్జీని స్టోర్ చేసుకుంటాయి. ఆ ఫుడ్ లో ఉన్న ఎనర్జీని ప్లాంట్స్ యూజ్ చేసుకుంటాయి. అదే ఆ ప్లాంట్ లో ఉన్న ఫుడ్ ని ఏదైనా జంతువులు తిన్నాయి అనుకోండి, ఇఫ్ ఇట్ టేక్ హెర్బివోర్, మేక తిన్నది అనుకోండి, ఏమవుతుంది, ఆ ఎనర్జీ మేకలోకి వెళ్తుంది. ఆ మేకని ఇంకేదైనా ఫాక్స్ తిన్నది అనుకోండి, ఫాక్స్ లోకి వెళ్తుంది ఎనర్జీ. ఇట్లా ఏమవుతుంది, ఎనర్జీ అనేది ఎకోసిస్టమ్ లో ఉన్న ఎనర్జీ, ఫ్లో ఆఫ్ ఎనర్జీ అనేది ఒక ఫుడ్ లెవెల్ నుంచి, ప్రొడ్యూసర్స్ నుంచి హెర్బివోర్స్ కి, హెర్బివోర్స్ నుంచి కార్నివోర్స్ కి, కార్నివోర్స్ నుంచి టాప్ కార్నివోర్స్ కి వెళ్తుంది అన్నమాట. ఓకే, ఇక్కడ సన్లైట్ లో ఉన్న మొత్తం ఎనర్జీ 100% అనుకుంటే, ద కంప్లీట్ ఎనర్జీ ప్రజెంట్ ఇన్ ద సన్లైట్ 50% ఆఫ్ సోలార్ ఎనర్జీ. మన కంప్లీట్ ఎనర్జీని ప్లాంట్లు తీసుకోవు, మరి ఎంత పర్సెంట్ ఎనర్జీ ప్లాంట్స్ కి రీచ్ అవుతుంది మనం చూద్దాం. ఇంట్రెస్టింగ్ ఫ్యాక్ట్ ఇది కూడా. 57% ఆఫ్ సోలార్ ఎనర్జీ is observed in the atmosphere and scattered in space. So completely 57% ఎనర్జీ మనకి కంప్లీట్ గా స్కాటర్ అయిపోతుంది స్పేస్ లోకి, అట్మాస్ఫియర్ లోకి. అండ్ 36% is expended in heating water, land, and in evaporating water. 57% స్కాటరింగ్ అయిపోతుంది. 36% ఆఫ్ సన్ ఎనర్జీ ఈజ్ యూజ్డ్ ఇన్ హీటింగ్ వాటర్. మరి సన్ ఎనర్జీలోంచి వచ్చే 36% ఎనర్జీ కూడా ఏంది, నీటిని వేడి చేయడానికి, భూమి పైన భూమి వేడెక్కడానికి, ఈ ప్లాంట్స్ యానిమల్ బాడీ నుంచి వాటర్ అంతా ఎవాపరేట్ చేయడానికే యూజ్ అవుతుంది. ఇంకా మిగిలిన 8% ఎనర్జీ, ఈ 8% ఎనర్జీ మాత్రమే సన్ ప్లాంట్స్ కి రీచ్ అవుతుంది. ఆ 8% ఎనర్జీలో కూడా ప్లాంట్స్ యూజ్ చేసుకునే ఎనర్జీ పర్సంటేజ్ ఎంత, ఓన్లీ 2% ఎనర్జీ. Only 2% energy is used by the plants to prepare their food in the photosynthesis process. Okay, a plants use cheskune 2% energy kuda plants nunchi animals ki vellinappudu food chain dwara community, the energy stored by plants is passed into the community or ecosystem through a food chain. That means food chain means from producers to herbivores, herbivores to carnivores, carnivores are omnivores. That means energy passed from producers to herbivores, herbivores to carnivores. Here ప్రతి లెవెల్లో ఎనర్జీ అనేది ఒకదాని నుంచి ఇంకో దానికి పాస్ అవుతుంది. ఇట్లా ఎనర్జీ పాస్ అయ్యేటప్పుడు 80 to 90% ఎనర్జీ అనేది వేస్ట్ అవుతుందని చెప్తున్నాడు ఇక్కడ. చూడండి, ద ఎనర్జీ ఫ్లో ఫ్రమ్ ప్రొడ్యూసర్స్ టు కన్స్యూమర్స్ ఎట్ ఈచ్ ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ ఏ లార్జ్ ప్రపోర్షన్, that is 80 to 90% of potential energy is dissipated as heat produced during the process of respiration and other way. మరి సన్ లో ఉన్న ఎనర్జీని మొక్కలు తీసుకునేది ఓన్లీ 2%. ఆ 2% ఎనర్జీ ప్లాంట్స్ నుంచి యానిమల్స్ కి వచ్చేటప్పటికి అందులో 80 to 90% ఎనర్జీ వేస్ట్ అయిపోతుంది. ఎట్లా, ప్లాంట్ బాడీ నుంచి యానిమల్ బాడీ నుంచి అది హీట్ లాగా బయటికి వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. మనకు తెలుసు రెస్పిరేషన్ ప్రాసెస్ లో, రెస్పిరేషన్ అంటే ఏంటి చిల్డ్రన్, మనం తిన్న ఫుడ్ ఎనర్జీగా మారడమే రెస్పిరేషన్. ఏం జరుగుతుంది అక్కడ? రెస్పిరేషన్ ప్రాసెస్ లో ఫుడ్ అనేది ఆక్సిడైజ్ అవుతుంది. ఆహారం అనేది ఆక్సిజన్ తో మండించబడుతుంది, చర్య జరపబడుతుంది. అప్పుడు ఫుడ్ నుంచి ఏం రిలీజ్ అవుతుంది? ఎనర్జీ రిలీజ్ అవుతుంది ఇన్ ద ఫార్మ్ ఆఫ్ ఏటీపీ. ఎనర్జీతో పాటు హీట్ రిలీజ్ అవుతుంది, కార్బన్ డైఆక్సైడ్, వాటర్ రిలీజ్ అవుతుంది. సో బై ద ఆక్సిడేషన్ ఆఫ్ ఫుడ్ మాలిక్యూల్స్ ఆర్ బై ద ఆక్సిడేషన్ ఆఫ్ గ్లూకోజ్ ఇన్ రెస్పిరేషన్ ప్రాసెస్, ఎనర్జీ, heat, carbon dioxide and water are produced. Here that energy is released as heat or escapes from the plant or animal body. That is waste. That means that is dissipated as waste. That is removed as waste here. Waste అయిపోతుంది అన్నమాట ఎనర్జీ. ఒకటి నుంచి ఇంకొక దానికి, ప్రొడ్యూసర్స్ నుంచి హెర్బివోర్స్కి వెళ్ళేటప్పటికి కొంత చేంజ్ అయిపోతుంది. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ మీ దగ్గర 100 చాక్లెట్స్ ఉన్నాయి అనుకోండి, అందులో మీరు 25 యూజ్ చేసుకున్నారు. నెక్స్ట్ వాళ్ళకి ఇచ్చేటప్పటికి ఎన్ని అవుతాయి? 75 అవుతాయి. ఆ పక్కన వాళ్ళకి ఇచ్చేటప్పటికి వాళ్ళకి ఎన్ని అవుతాయి? 50 అవుతాయి. తర్వాత వాళ్ళకి ఇచ్చేటప్పటికి 20. ఆమె ఇంకొకరికి ఇచ్చింది అనుకో, ఆమె కొన్ని తీసుకొని పక్క వాళ్ళకి ఇస్తుంది. అట్లా మనకి ఏమవుతుంది? ఇక్కడ ఎనర్జీ అనేది ఒకరి నుంచి ఇంకొకరికి వెళ్ళేటప్పుడు కొంత ఎనర్జీ లాస్ అనేది అవుతుంది. కొంత ప్లాంట్ దాన్ని యూజ్ చేసుకుంటుంది, లివింగ్ ఆర్గానిజం, కొంత హీట్ రూపంలో వేస్ట్ అయిపోతుంది అని చెప్పేసి చెప్తున్నారు అనమాట ఎనర్జీ ecosystem lo. This is about various ecosystems in this chapter. We discussed up to yet a desert ecosystem, mangrove ecosystem. Okay, I will give you the Google form by today evening. NMMS based questions unde Google form istanu ee chapter lo. Okay na children?